What was the really funny joke that I came up with for the cold open just now that's been deleted forever? It was so funny. It was the funniest thing anyone's ever said in the history of the universe on mic to be recorded.
I do remember it was very funny.
Yeah, I know. It's just so tragic that no one's ever going to be able to hear it now.
I believe that 15 of the 20 minutes was just me laughing.
Yeah, I know.
It was so funny.
And then maybe in retrospect that would have been like bad radio, but the joke was so good.
I would have kept the laughter in because the audience would have been laughing with me.
Exactly.
It would have given them like a moment.
It would have felt sort of immersive.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like when you pause after a joke to get the laugh. It's like a 15-minute pause.
Yeah. Welcome to my pod cabbages.
Welcome to my pod cabbages. Welcome to my pod cabbages.
My name is Summer.
My name is Noah.
Ooh, you almost fucked up there.
I almost said your name.
Oh, the power of thought and speech. And those things together and sometimes separate. Mm-hmm. This is a podcast about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
The Nicktoons show that once dominated the airwaves on Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. Beloved.
Do you have any trivia?
Yes. And boy, can I not wait to share it.
Beloved. British people
be like Nicktoons.
Nicktoons.
So one of my favorite pieces of trivia on the wiki was verbatim, this particular episode is also titled as the Earthbending Tournament, not to be confused with the title, especially when downloading through the iTunes Music Store.
Nothing's bad that's ever happened to me.
Who hurt you?
Not gonna name any names. iTunes Music Store.
So then we also have most people already kind of have like a mild awareness of this, but the Boulder character in this episode is based on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Mm-hmm. But ironically, I'm so sad that we lost a lot of our recording because I wish I could get Noah's genuine reaction to this again.
Yeah.
But if you're listening at home, I hope I get some poggers in the chat. They tried to get The Rock to voice the Boulder, but...
What?
But, wait, I didn't get to the...
Okay.
I didn't get to the...
They tried to get The Rock to voice the...
They tried to, but they couldn't. And so instead they got, like, his biggest rival, Mick Mankind Foley.
What?
I know.
I'm just now finding out about this.
It's so wild. On a similar note, for voice acting wise, do we remember Mang from the episode of Aang's crush from her?
I do remember Mang.
Mang. The voice actress of Mang. I think we talked about this in that episode, but she comes back to voice Toph.
What? I had no idea.
This is not how the whole episode is going to go. We only lost 10 minutes. So.
Yeah. Next thing you're going to tell me that...
You don't have to buckle in. You can unbuckle.
The next thing you're going to tell me that the voice actor for the Boulder was actually The Rock's rival.
No, I already told you that one again.
You did?
Yeah.
You what? Next thing you're going to tell me that Toph is the same voice actor as Mang.
So when the creators were researching Toph's southern praying mantis style, they found out that, according to legend, the style was actually developed by a blind woman, which is awesome.
It is good.
And then on to my very favorite piece of trivia. So this episode was ranked number 12 in the 100 greatest moments in Nicktoon history ranking. It was beaten by one episode of El Tigre, one
LT. Every time you say that,
what?
I think of it, of the two words, instead of El Tigre, I hear it as LT Gray.
No, it's El Tigre like the tiger.
LT Gray sounds like a poet.
I don't think I ever saw a single episode of that show, but
I did not either.
Good for them
but
for
I
making
saw
it
all
onto the
ads.
list. I don't think I even remember the ads. I don't even know if I could tell you what it was about. Probably something about a tiger.
Fittingly, it's about like
Wrestling?
wrestling. I
Okay,
think.
that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I don't have anything to go on
I
based
just-
on that. I don't know why I know
I
that.
just remember like the whole like stinger they did for the ads, where it's like El Tigre, and then they had like, that's me trying to do a tiger roar. That's me That's me roaring.
Huh.
Roar.
Oh, okay, that sounds a little better. We did get the Jeff Goldblum growl back in.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fucking context for that
Yeah.
was the last time we recorded, but I'm glad we were able to squeeze it in again.
I think it was literally just nothing. We were just like, let's bite back into it.
Okay. We also, on the list, had
Nickelodeon epic moments.
we had one other episode of Avatar, 8 episodes of SpongeBob. Band Geeks, of course, coming in at number 1 all time. And the one other episode that did beat the episode of The Blind Bandit was an episode of Danny Phantom called The Ultimate Enemy, which, as far as I can tell, is an episode about a standardized test that Danny has to take where if he cheats, everyone in his family fucking dies.
Just no. Okay.
What?
So, did you read like the plot for this?
Yeah,
Danny
I
Phan-
read the whole thing from start to finish.
What happens in the plot?
Well, I say read. I skimmed.
Well, welcome to
My Danny Phantom
wait,
images.
casting. Welcome to Danny Phantom. Cast has like a ghostly.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. If we were going to make a Danny Phantom podcast, we already have the Geist's whole,
Okay.
but branding.
Like casting a specter. I feel like that Cast has like ghost energy.
Cast?
Yeah, like.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, welcome to the fan cast, the Danny Fan Cast, the podcast within a podcast. You have 10 seconds to sum up this episode of Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom has to take a standardized test, and if he cheats, his family fucking dies.
Okay, what does he do? Does he cheat?
No.
Oh. Does he know that he's in this situation, or like,
I didn't read that closely.
or is this just kind of like a Saw situation where like they trap his family and then like they like have like cameras set up to him like doing a test?
I mean, well, the episode's called The Ultimate Enemy, so I can only assume it's like it's about Jigsaw.
It is like a Jigsaw sort of like collaboration event.
Yeah. So anyway, that episode of Danny Phantom beat the Blind Bandit somehow. The cats are trying to invade the office.
Okay, we're gonna have to watch this episode later.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Okay.
You can watch it by yourself.
I think I will. Thanks. The other Avatar episode is Siege. Is it Siege of the North?
It's just one of the
North,
parts.
Part 1 or part 2?
Oh, maybe it was. I don't know. I didn't write it down because I didn't think we'd be talking about it.
Okay, because
but it was. I think if I remember correctly, I think it was one or both of the Siege of the North episodes.
Okay, people will say that book 1 pales in comparison to the rest of the series,
Which
but
is
like
a wild thing to say, but go on.
But like the series finale of book 1 is still like extremely good.
It's
so good.
Yeah, like I feel like
it beats a lot of the later episodes.
Yeah, for sure. Even as like a kid, after finishing the show, like one of the most potent memories I had was like Aang being in the big water monster.
Yeah.
Just like the fucking goosebumps that gave me when I was a kid. Just like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Got the fishies and the, it's just like, thank you for feeding me
Yeah.
such a substantial meal.
Yeah, it's Twee and Law's big moment.
It's true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Scratching on our doors, reminding us, get back to the podcast, get back to the episode.
Keep going, keep going. Oh, they're like our little cheerleaders.
Yeah. What are pep rallies?
I don't want to talk about pep rallies
Let's
this time. So the episode starts with this scene of Sokka trying to buy a bag.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really. There's seemingly no point of this B plot with Sokka and the bag.
There's a B plot.
They use it. If anything, they use it for evil later when they like accuse Sokka of like not being masculine enough for caring about what color his bag is or something like that. It's just so pointless.
It's like it's a Schrodinger's red herring.
Oh,
sorry to throw that at you.
I feel like I was playing a Pokemon game and I accidentally stepped onto one of those like platforms that like moves you ahead and then sideways.
Sorry about inventing a concept and throwing it at you immediately.
But then there's like a guy who comes by with some flyers about an earthbending academy. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
The kids kind of take it as it's just a local earthbending academy.
Yeah, Master Use.
And the kids are like, oh, perfect. Like, we are currently deep in our search for Aang's earthbending teacher. So, like, what better place to go?
Oh, yeah. So he goes to the Earthbending Academy. All of his peers are just like little kids because it's a beginner's class. Even though he's 12, he's still a kid, but it's kind of like middle schoolers versus elementary schoolers, you know?
Mm-hmm. This scene reminded me of when I was in high school and I just like on a whim thought it would be a good idea to get back into ballet after not doing it for like 10 years. Mm-hmm. And so like my best friend and I signed up for ballet classes, but we were both like 15 or 16 in this group of like 6-year-olds. Yeah. So we were like twice as tall and half as flexible. And it was just humiliating.
Yeah.
Just being in my silly little tights, doing my silly little plies.
And like them just outperforming you anyways.
Based on the way that they are like handling the belt issue, like the fact that you basically get like a new belt by staying there long enough and paying enough money. Mm-hmm. It's just like, you can tell that this like Earthbending Academy is kind of scammy anyway. Yeah. So,
well, the guy specifically said, like, I'll move you up a belt if you pay for the whole year in advance.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Capitalism. More like crowdalism.
More like crowdalism. So he was just like, this place is a scam, let's go.
Pretty much. And then on their way out, they hear like a couple of punk boys talking about something happening.
Yeah.
Called, what was it?
Earth Rumble.
This again.
Earth Rumble 6. Shing. Shing. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Shing. Shing.
Thanks for counting down your own little sound effect there.
That was definitely me just counting down for myself.
But they're curious about what this is. So before they can escape their sight, they ask them what this Earth Rumble 6 business is, and they one of them,
Earth Rumble 6.
One of the boys says it's on the island of Nunya, which is just like the Ligma of the early 2000s.
But they couldn't do Ligma because they're a kids show.
I feel like you could get away with Ligma on a kids show.
I feel like that you could get away with a Ligma and a kids show because it's not an explicit.
It just depends on.
Ligma is not explicit word.
Exactly. It depends on who asks what it means.
Yeah.
If no one asks, or if the wrong people.
I feel like that Stan Pines from Gravity Falls could have gotten away with a Ligma joke
easily, for sure.
Yeah.
But Katara follows them, ominously follows them as they walk away to persuade them to give her the information that they want.
Yeah. It's implied that she's trying to like
seduce them or something,
like be like flirty.
Yeah. But then we like. When she gets back, she's like, oh, I figured out what it is and where it is. And we find out that she just like iced them to the wall. Well, she didn't ice them.
Ice them? Wait, what is icing someone?
That means killing them.
Wait, what?
You've never heard this expression?
No?
That's a pretty common expression.
Icing someone?
Yeah, it's like making them cold.
Like down, like...
And when
Like-
someone dies, they become cold.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah, and then they find out that there's like this big tournament
Mm-hmm.
where earthbenders get to fight each other,
Yeah.
which sounds fucking cool.
Yeah. So they go to Earth Rumble 6. I think I'm getting better at that. Shing.
I guess.
And they get front row seats because no one's sitting there.
Because it's just like SeaWorld.
It's like SeaWorld, but
without
rocks.
the animal
instead of
abuse.
water.
and men instead of animal abuse. Which, it's not all men, though, as we find out. Katara was worried it would be all men.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're in the front seats, and they're in the splash zone, and they get splashed with a dude.
With a rock.
It's a dude. It's
just a rock splash. That's a new Pokemon move.
They're sitting in the front row seats, but they didn't realize that they're in the dude zone.
Not right away though. They only got splashed with a rock. Just a
rock.
Just a big rock. What was that full quote by James Acaster? Because it was like,
is it a boulder?
Is it a boulder, or is it just
a
big rock? So that's what we're asking today.
Mm-hmm. So, good point. So, they announce the first wrestler Earthbenders. It's just, this whole thing is just a, like...
Oh, it's definitely a wrestling parody.
It's
God, I wish I knew anything about wrestling.
It is.
Half of our friends are screaming.
Yeah. It's literally just like Earthbenders fighting each other, but it's like in a wrestling tournament style.
Right.
So they got like their personalities and they got to push each other out of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a wrestling thing.
No.
You just have to go on top
I
of
think
someone.
maybe there are some rounds like that.
Sumo wrestling.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So it is like a combination of like sumo wrestling rules, but like with just like your regular sort of personalities of like, I'm the hippo. I look like a hippo. I got hippo teeth.
I think you'll also find that it translates quite nicely into what we eventually see as pro bending.
That's a good point.
I'm guessing, I think I even remember like learning something about this, but I think that pro bending was like canonically, it like came out of this kind of tournament.
Interesting.
Yeah. But so the tournament is like largely, the one that we're watching here is largely based on just this one sort of indestructible guy called the Boulder.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just taken down all these characters. So there's like, what's the first one? The first one he fights is, his name is the Big Bad Hippo.
Oh, that's his full name?
That's his little fighting name.
Okay. Casually known as the Hippo.
Yeah, he takes him down pretty easily, and then he fights this guy called Fire Nation Man.
Fire Nation Man.
Which is, yeah, it's really funny. It made me think of like Alison Brie's character in Glow.
Yeah, because they do give Fire Nation Man a Russian accent.
Yeah.
Right now.
Well, I actually found out like via the Avatar wiki, I found out that was like a thing, like the whole Russian stereotype as like evil character wrestler was like a huge thing that happened like pretty frequently.
That makes sense. Like you have like two wrestlers, one's like American man, one's USSR man.
Mm-hmm. And I also learned I did learn from the Avatar The Last Airbender wiki that these sort of evil villain characters are called heels.
Heels.
So
okay.
That's a word that I now have.
I think I've heard of that.
Cool. We're learning so much today.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about
Star Wars?
No.
Because I believe that
No!
the Separatist army was kind of like a heel.
If you have
because Palpatine was like
thoughts about wrestling that
what?
And want to talk about how
would you say that the Democratic Party is kind of like a heel?
If you know a lot about wrestling and you're interested in including yourself in the conversation about this rock tournament and its relation to the wrestling world, feel free to join our Discord and talk about it, because I would
Yeah.
love to have another perspective on it.
Yeah.
I think without this character, I would have assumed that just all these people were just like
Like
themselves.
genuinely,
I wouldn't have thought that they were characters much. So,
Mm-hmm.
Then after Fire Nation Man, the Boulder fights some guy with a like steampunk doctor aesthetic.
I was thinking he was like a miner.
Okay,
Kind of
couldn't. I could not parse
like mining
his
rocks.
weird
not,
outfit.
not like a tiny person.
Right.
No,
Just an
I don't mean
underage-
tiny person. I mean like just
someone,
not a young person.
just someone under the age of 18.
Yeah, we get that later.
That's true. And then there's like a skinny luchador kind of guy, and then a guy who looks
he's
kind of
got
like
lizard vibes.
lizard vibes.
Because he kind of like crawls on
Like
all
Dracula.
fours a little bit, but like sometimes he stands.
Interesting. That's a good point, I suppose. There's also a guy who looks like kind of a weird, like Soul Calibur variation of like a guy from
Soul Calibur.
a guy from like a member of Kiss. And then after he defeats the Boulder defeats all of these intricate and fascinating characters easily.
Mm-hmm.
He is challenged by what the host claims, who the host claims to be the champion, like undefeated.
Yeah.
And her name is the Blind Bandit, and she's tiny. She looks just like I don't know, how it would like 11 or 12 maybe. At least I would probably assume she was younger than that if not for her personality.
Yeah.
She might even be like a little small for her age.
Yeah. So this is kind of like the final match. You got the Boulder, and you have someone that's sort of like the Boulder, but you know, like is like a large boulder, but she's really young, so she's like a large boulder in the shape.
You could say that she's the size
of
a small boulder.
a small boulder.
We've been waiting so long to get this joke in. I don't even know if it's like relevant anymore.
Yeah, it's fine. Everyone. I'm glad that the joke wasn't big enough that
people are just tired of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
glad
good.
it's forgotten. It's a throwback now instead of a.
It's just a little bit of nostalgic humor for you. Remember that simple little joke. So she is fucking incredible, needless to say. And also Katara is really excited about her because she just assumed it was going to be a bunch of big guys throwing around a bunch of big rocks.
Just big rocks.
But she just like, oh my god, it's like beautiful, even just the way that they've animated it. But
this, I believe this has to be the actual moment of.
I don't think that that's what it is. I don't think that they were saying literally moments. I think they meant like the whole episode as a moment.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so like
moments in
Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Just
history.
That's how I interpreted that
British
list.
people be like Nickelodeon.
We find out that she not only has the blind bandit persona as like her fighting character, but she is actually blind, and the way that she fights is by like feeling the ground with her feet. And then she feels the vibrations of like where people are and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the animation for this is just so fucking cool.
Yeah. It cuts.
It's just amazing.
It cuts.
So inspired.
It cuts to a scene which is completely different from anything else that we've seen in the show.
We get like a lot of slow motion and like a lot of close-ups and cool angles and
it like
it's so cool.
It goes into like black and white, and then you see like it goes into like this subjective view of what Toph sees of like where everyone's just kind of like a black and white shape.
It's like a sort of a like a motion radar, like she gets like this.
You get like these expanding
vibration,
these expanding expanding concentric circles.
Yeah.
They're the glowing.
It looks cool. You should just watch it.
It looks cool. And
so she immediately she gets on stage, they start the battle, and it looks like the boulder's just about to like fucking own her, but like time slows down for her. She feels everything that's going on. She's waiting and listening and feeling, and then she avoids. Okay, this is going off of my memory, so I might have this wrong, but I feel like it's such a good scene. I actually have the. Well, then let me guess, and if I get it wrong, you can correct me.
Okay.
But I think so. The boulder like throws a big rock at her. She narrowly avoids it, and then just immediately, like very precisely, just uses these little motions to like very perfect, like surgery. She just like uses her fingers to like push out this like really thin rock ledge that just knocks him right off the stage. So fucking cool.
Yeah, it should. Yeah. So yeah, it's like as soon as the boulder's like heel hits the ground, it just like the whole show like freezes, like time freezes.
That's what happens when like the office door opens and then like time freezes, and Law just like she gets these like ripple effects where she hears the door or she stops, listens, senses that the office door has opened, and she's immediately there to run in.
Yeah. That's also what happens with Twee with the bathroom door.
And that's what also happens with Toph with the boulder's heel.
Yeah. Oh, you heard me? You heard me, Twee? Aw.
Hi, Twee.
Hi, Twee.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, and this whole like Avatar: The Last Airbender top 10 moments.
Absolutely the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely cool, good. It sort of ends for like this whole like slow motion sequence of Toph going into like galaxy brain mode. Sort of like ends with her like bending the ground underneath him, and then the boulder like doing a split.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And then he's just like, oh, and it's just like a little like dumb slapstick.
Oh, it's so good. I don't know if you saw, but I posted the storyboard for this moment in the Discord.
Ooh, I didn't actually look at it.
Yeah, there's like the whole storyboard. And they're actually talking about Brian and Mike used to just be storyboard artists. So like they didn't do storyboards for everything, but sometimes they just got really excited because they really liked doing them. Yeah. So they would like, for scenes they really wanted to get right, they would make these really cool little storyboards.
Yeah. So in conclusion, I don't know shit about cinematography or directing, but the way that they direct this sort of scene, just it feels like slowly pulling back an arrow and firing it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Also, we have to mention that Aang sees her and he immediately recognizes her from
the
swamp.
Yeah. He remembers her as the person that swamp guy was like, it's someone from your future.
Yeah.
Which I just I love that concept.
Just like, oh.
Time is not linear.
Yeah, he just like points at her and is like, important person. I need to talk to her.
Okay.
I'm going in the ring. Don't mind me.
Well, okay, but first of all, the host is, he like pulls up a bag of money and he's like, anyone who can beat her gets this money. And Aang's like, oh, me. And he jumps down to supposedly fight, but then he immediately stops and he's like, no, I don't want to fight. I just want to talk to you because I think you're supposed to teach me earthbending. And Toph's like, no talk, just fight.
Yeah. He also remembers that what Boomy told him.
Oh, yeah. She waited and she listened.
Yeah. And that's exactly what she did. So Aang's just like putting two and two together with the board dream, and he's just like,
it has to be her.
This is so obvious.
Yeah. But so she just starts attacking him like ruthlessly.
Yeah.
But the problem is she's never fought someone like Aang because he's an airbender.
Yeah. So no one on Earth alive has ever seen an earthbender.
Yeah, I think this is something we've talked about before, but it's like Aang has a distinct advantage in every battle just because no one has ever trained against an airbender.
Yeah.
So especially with Toph, who like depends on like weight and motion and like solidity.
Yeah, and just like solid objects.
Yeah, exactly.
She can only see solid objects.
Since he can kind of float around and like manipulate his weight a little bit more, she has a really hard time like keeping
Yeah.
keeping tabs on him while he's just bouncing around.
He's like trying to talk to her, and then she attacks him, and at this point, like, he pushes back in self-defense, and like he just one hit KOs her off the thing. He just pushes her.
Yeah. But she falls off, which technically means that she
Like,
loses.
he accidentally won. So
And then they gave him the money, right?
yeah, they gave him the money.
He took it.
Yeah, he took it.
Why
then,
did he take it?
I mean, they were low on money.
This comes back up again later because the host and a bunch of the performers were like talking about what the fuck went wrong here because no one's ever beat the Blind Bandit, and they weren't expecting to have to give away all the money. So they were like analyzing this situation, realized that Aang was not doing any earthbending, and then they just assumed that Aang and Toph like teamed up to like put on like a fake show to steal the money, which is a really interesting. I thought that was an interesting way to like have that plot move forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not there just yet. Next, we just see. Oh yeah, because Toph is really, her pride is like absolutely wounded here. This is like the only thing she had. We don't really know exactly like what her deal is yet, but she looks absolutely pissed.
So it looks like that Aang doesn't take the gold yet, and he's like chasing her down the stairs. The host is like still standing there with the money, and Aang is like running after Toph, and like Toph just sort of like Homer Simpson .gif like walks in through the wall.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she does that fun earthbending move of like creating a square hole in the wall, walking through, and then immediately closing it behind her. God, I wish I could do that.
Aang goes back up, and like Sokka's there, and he takes the gold for him.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, but then after they leave there, they're just trying to figure out, because they know that they have to find the Blind Bandit again, because that's who's supposed to teach Aang earthbending. So they just start asking around to see if anyone knows who she is or where she is.
They go back to the students that they saw earlier.
Katara just like threatens them again.
Well, they were just like, I think importantly, they're like, oh, you beat the Blind Bandit, and you're like, yeah, do you know where she lives? And not a suspicious question
yeah, that's
at all.
kind of a weird thing to say.
Yeah. They're just like, I don't know.
Yeah, no one knows.
No one knows where she came from.
She's just a mystery.
They've only seen her in the ring. And
she just shows up, does her silly little tasks, and then disappears.
Yeah.
But then Aang just like galaxy brain. He's like, well, the one I saw in my mind forest was a girl in like a white dress with a flying boar as a pet. Like, do you know anyone like that? And they're like, oh, the flying boar. That's the Beifong national animal
symbol. That's that's the animal that the Beifong
their mascot
family kens.
So the Beifongs are like the richest. I actually saw in the art book it says that they're the richest family in the southern Earth Kingdom.
Okay.
Period.
So super rich.
Extremely rich.
Extremely rich.
So the gang like shows up at the Beifong residence. Yeah. And instead of
the students also mentioned that like, yeah, but they don't like have a daughter or anything.
Oh yeah, which is fucking it's really fucked up. Okay, but yeah, so they show up at the Beifong residence, and instead of like talking to the guards or knocking on the door or anything, they just immediately go over and just like break in via the like garden wall.
Yeah, like Plan A isn't talk yourselves in. Plan A is just break in.
Whatever. We're probably not welcome anywhere anyway. But so they break in, and then like the second that they make it into the garden, they just like their shit gets wrecked by this like big like earth explosion that like knocks them off their feet. And
Toph just immediately knows.
Yeah, she immediately sensed
she's
them.
already there.
Yeah. And then she just comes over and she's like, what the fuck are you doing here?
How did you find my house?
Why are you here? What is wrong with you? But then they're just trying to explain to her the whole situation.
I didn't, just like Aang's dialogue. And it's like, he said, well, a crazy king told me I had to find an earthbender who listens to the earth, and then I had a vision in a magic swamp.
Yeah, I think Katara like shuts him up like, whoa. Look at, she's not as unhinged as us. Yeah, we got to use like normie terms. She doesn't know about all this spirit shit. Like before they can really get too far with their like pitch, there's like, oh no. So they start talking to her about this, and she's like, "Leave me the fuck alone, or I'm going to start like yelling for help." But they keep going. So she does. She just starts yelling for help.
Yeah.
And then so the guards start like making their way there, and then there's this really funny like aerial shot of them just like kind of slowly running in circles trying to figure out where to hide.
Yeah.
It's such a funny little shot.
I think the funniest part is that it is sort of like a Scooby-Doo, just kind of like people circling around each other, but it's kind of like they don't do the cartoonish effect of like running really fast. It's kind of like
it's
if
really
you did
slow.
like a real life.
It's not only is it slow, but like the frame rate is really low, so you just see them like just kind of click, click.
Yeah, but just like running in circles, just like looking left and right.
It's so cute.
The next scene is just Toph's parents.
I think I wanted to just mention like when they were talking to those two boys and then they were like leaving. I think that was when we got that sort of famous Sokka water tribe out little gif moment.
Yeah, where like Sokka's like
this
walking
is worth
out
mentioning
backwards and like he does his like point to the eyes and with the two fingers point to you and then just like saluting out.
Because we do
walking
get
backwards and spin around.
We get like a reference to this joke in Legend of Korra, which is really cute.
Sokka was showing off his epic swagger.
Right. So then they are... Oh, yeah. So Aang gets denied, rejected by Toph. They get out of there, and then they come right back. Yeah. And Aang just goes...
Like the next scene is a really short scene where it's just Toph's parents. And they're talking to someone.
Sorry, I just like the timeline of Aang leaving and then coming right back to be like, okay, can I just speak to the head of the house? Which he should have done in the first place.
That's true.
But yeah.
We find out earlier that Toph has an earthbending teacher. He's only been teaching her like
breathing and poses.
And just like poses.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Toph's parents or family are visited by the Avatar. So, of course, they make time for him. They have him in for dinner, and Toph is there as well. And
it's like time number 3. This time's got to work.
So this time...
Relentless.
Aang is just trying to appeal to her family. He's trying to explain about like how talented Toph is.
Yeah.
And this is where we kind of find out that like Toph's family doesn't know her at all. They don't know anything about like how talented she is or like her secret little life or anything.
Yeah.
Because he keeps trying to bring up like, oh, you know, I need your daughter to teach me earthbending. She's like very talented. Every time he says something like this, she secretly like digs her feet into the ground and just like smashes him with rocks, brings his chair forward.
Yeah. They're like playing footsie, but it's a real fight and she can control rocks with her mind.
Yeah.
So.
And then eventually after one of these moments, Aang like fights back by like pretending to sneeze and then just blowing like soup and things asunder. And Toph's just like, what the fuck is your problem?
Yeah.
Why are you like this? Toph says.
The last line of the scene is Toph's mom. This is not important, but it's Toph's mom saying, well, shall we move to the living room for dessert then? And is that a thing?
I don't know. It sounds like the kind of thing that like a writer would put in to make it like very clear how fancy they are.
Yeah, I guess like,
we have designated places for each thing that we do.
Just kind of like pointless etiquette that rich people have. It's just like, well, you must eat dessert in the living room, not in the dining room.
Oh, I haven't, since we re-recorded, I didn't put in the art book information about Toph, which I can do now.
Tell me the art book information about Toph.
It's exciting and cute and fun. Here it is. I'm reading it to you now. So Michael DiMartino was saying during the Bible development, which I assume just means like their initial canon skeleton that they were writing.
Yeah.
Brian and I conceived of Toph as a tough, brash, blind teenage boy who would become Aang's earthbending teacher. As we began the writing for season 2, Aaron redacted suggested making Toph a girl, and then Brian and I resisted the idea at first. God, I hate men.
Yeah.
But the more we talked about it, the more we loved the idea of taking all of Toph's original personality traits and putting them into the body of an adorable 12-year-old girl. And now I can't imagine Toph any other way. So then they also explain how they had Jessie Flower charmed us in her voicing of season 1 character Ming so much that we half jokingly talked about making Ming a recurring presence, and just instead they ended up just bringing her back to voice Toph. Then Brian goes on to say that despite people's doubts early on in development, Mike and I always thought that the show would connect with a female audience, and we felt pleasantly vindicated when the first season did just that. The thing that surprised us about the second season was how many tough-looking teenage boys told us their favorite character was Toph, which is just write better girls.
Yeah.
Just, you don't look, you don't have to write it as a boy first. You can simply make a good girl character.
Yeah. Are you a writer and have a lot of internalized misogyny and don't know where to start? Just write a man character and then just change it.
Gender swap it.
Just gender swap it. Just kind of
I hate that it takes that.
Just kind of smooth.
I hate that has to be the technique.
Inconsistencies, but not too much. Not too much.
Yeah.
And
but that just goes to show you, like, all the people who say, like, oh, you can't make a female protagonist. How will men relate or care? It's such bullshit.
Yeah.
Imagine if you said that about, like, all of the male characters. Just like, well, I don't want to make it a male protagonist. How will we get girls to watch?
Yeah.
It's just men are the default gender.
It's like, girls won't care about Pokemon if we have Ash Ketchum as the main character.
I'm not going to talk about this anymore.
Girls won't care about Harry Potter.
Oh, I guess you are.
Well.
Enough. So then, what happens at the end of that scene?
It just cuts out.
Okay.
And then later, just cut to the next scene.
Then afterwards, the Beifong family just decided to let the gang just kind of stay there for the night, which is awfully nice of them.
Yeah, but he is the Avatar.
Yeah.
He's more powerful than you.
That's true. And then I think that's where we have Aang and Toph going for their, like, little evening stroll. Aang is trying to tell Toph how important she is to, like, his journey.
Toph is the one who approaches the Aang this time.
Okay.
And she's trying to call a truce between them and leave me alone.
And she has, like, the very relatable excuse of just, like, it sounds really amazing what you're doing, and I really am excited for you, and I, like, wish I could do that, but I just can't. Like, it's just not, I'm not allowed to leave.
Yeah.
This is just not how my life works, and I can't do it.
Yeah.
As much as I wish I could.
She also briefly explains to Aang that she's able to, like, quote unquote see with earthbending, mostly with her feet. She feels the vibrations of the earth. She can just, like, detect just things, just like little ants crawling on the ground.
Yeah.
So she has, like, such a high situational awareness. She can just, like, see through walls and everything.
And, like, she's talking about how, like, her parents will just, like, never understand, like, this life that she has, like, internally with her blindness, and they just see her as, like, incredibly weak and, like, needing constant care, and they just don't want her to ever get hurt, and it's just, like, absolutely demoralizing for her, and I just feel so bad for her. There is hope, though. They get interrupted because Toph realizes she feels that they're being ambushed. But before they can, like, escape, they are captured by Earth Rumble boys.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Earth Rumble?
Earth Rumble 6.
Okay. Oh, it actually has their names here. So the Boulder, the Hippo, Fire Nation Man, the Gopher, the Gecko, and the Headhunter.
Headhunter. Okay.
So they get put into little cages, and like, they leave a ransom note for Toph's family, demanding 500 gold pieces, which, now that I'm thinking about it, is kind of funny since it's, like, the richest family
that's true.
in Earth Kingdom. So it's just like, we just want 500 gold
yeah.
pieces. And
Doesn't sound like a lot.
it's probably just the same amount that they like lost in the fucking like ring. That's kind of funny. So it is like, it's nice to know that it's like kind of low stakes anyway.
Yeah, they might have like, we don't want to make them too mad. We
just want our money back.
Yeah. We don't want to like them to like Liam Neeson taking us. We just want to just like make it easy for them.
Right. So they just like no problem like show up at the arena with the money.
It is signed by the Boulder, and Sokka's really excited about this.
Just getting the Boulder's autograph because he's like a huge fan now all of a sudden.
Yeah, and it's like the equivalent of like getting excited because Hannibal Buress signs your eviction notice. I got Hannibal Buress' autograph. I also like that how they sort of like team up against Toph instead of believing that Aang could actually airbend because...
Well, I mean, I guess the logic is even if he was airbending, it was still cheating.
That's true.
Because it was meant to be earthbending. You can't
like let like firebenders and like...
I mean, that even comes up with like the pro bending. Remember, Korra gets in trouble for using like different bending stuff.
Interesting.
You remember that? But yeah, so they show up at the arena, they give the money, and then they just give Toph back. It seems really simple, except they're also just going to hang on to the Avatar because they think that they could get a lot more money, which is funny because like they didn't ask for that much from the Beifongs.
Yeah, so the money that they won was actually just the exact amount.
It's actually kind of praxis because they're trying to get way more money from the Fire Nation.
That is a good point.
From the government, but I mean like. The Beifongs deserve to distribute their wealth too, so whatever.
They should have asked for more.
They should have asked for more money from everyone.
Grievances.
The Beifongs, they just like, oh well, it's not our problem, I guess. So we're just gonna go ahead and leave now, and they just like start leaving, and Katara and Sokka are like, well, what the fuck are we supposed to do now? Because there's like all of these guys, these big burly men that if they wanted to get Aang back, they'd have to fight. And there would just be no hope.
Yeah, I like how they released Toph as like just easy, but like decided to keep the Avatar, knowing that Toph has proven over and over again that she can beat all of them.
I mean, that's literally so. Like Katara like runs after her, and she's like, "Look, we need your help. We literally need your help. There's no one who can do this but you." And this is where Toph's father. He doesn't even speak to Toph. He speaks about Toph in like the third person while she's standing right there, which is just like the biggest pet peeve of mine. Like you really think so low of her that you like have to speak for her and you don't even like check in with like it's so disgusting. I hate it.
It's kind of like when when people ordered drinks from you on a plane, where like husbands would just like speak about their own wives.
I would literally like on so many occasions I would like look at this woman sitting in a seat next to her partner and I would ask her if she wanted something, and then like before she could even say something, like the guy next to her would be like, oh yeah, she'll have this. God, I mean, like I'm sure a lot of girls are probably like, oh, I like being pampered like that. But like overall, that's so incredibly demeaning.
Yeah.
Ugh, I hate it. Yeah, Katara runs up to him, or to her, to Toph and her dad. He says all this bullshit about her.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she's so weak. She needs help. She can't do anything.
He literally says, "My daughter is blind. She's blind and tiny and helpless and fragile."
God. And then fucking Toph's just like, no, fuck you, I'm not. And I'm going to go help them actually have a nice life. And then she just like leaves her dad's side and goes and really fucks shit up. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. So she jumps into the arena. She yells, "Oh yeah, I fought you all once and I'll do it again," or something like that. Like I beat you all already. Like sort of like what you were saying, like the fact that they already know that they're not like any match for her.
Yeah, and then Katara and Sokka like run up to Toph to like help her, and then she just says like, "Wait, they're mine."
Yeah,
and
she just wants to take care of it herself. I do have to think that like she did make that decision a little bit knowing her dad was going to see.
True. That is a good point.
Because then So he's sitting in the stands with Sokka and Katara. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he just sees her absolutely breathtaking talent in earthbending.
The first thing that she does is like create a huge cloud of dust. So like only she's the only one who can see.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually really smart too, because she could probably feel like the vibrations of the air a little bit better too.
That is a good point.
Yeah. It's a really genius technique.
Mm-hmm.
And then
sorry, I just like imagining like a slightly different version of Avatar where like Toph is just like walking around like
with
Pigpen
dust
with like a dust cloud around her.
I love that. Do you have anything else like written down for like just the kinds of moves she pulls off here?
No.
Carry your spy moves. That's a reference for no one.
I was just thinking the only note that I made about this fight is that I just love Toph and how she moves around and she earthbends in such like this sort of hunched over way.
Yeah.
And like this undignified raw gorilla.
It's a lot like how Boomy does earthbending.
True.
It's like this weird bad posture. It's like that's how you know they're getting serious with it.
Yeah.
Like there's no like thought for like grace or anything. It's just like all power, all technique.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
To describe Toph in one word is just raw.
Yeah. I love Toph so much. She's so cool. So then this is where her dad sees her fighting and he says, like, I had no idea. I truly did not realize this.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, I think her earthbending teacher was there too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I think maybe he was the one who was just like, holy shit. Like, if I had known this is what she was capable of, we wouldn't have been wasting time on breathing techniques. It does make me wonder, like, I mean, obviously, I think I believe she developed this style herself. I think that's like the implication. Because I was going to say, like, if she's only learning earthbending from this one guy, how did she get so good?
Yeah.
But I think it's just like, literally, she just figured it out herself because she's so alone and bored and she didn't want to feel powerless, you know?
Yeah. And this is also the first time that we see Toph fighting for real.
True, like because, not like, as like a performance.
Like she was holding back with her parents, and then she goes into wrestling, and she's still holding back because she probably has like a deal with all the other wrestlers to be like really good, which is why they're like unionizing against her or whatever. I know what unionizing is.
I think they were just like, she's amazing and she's like the cherry on top of our show and like no one's ever going to beat her, so we can always have that sort of like exciting moment at the end of every show where we can have like the call to have someone come up and try to fight her, and then that's really just all she does, leaves with her money. And
but you see Toph go all out. She's got like these rock shields and like bending people around and moving people, and she's just John Wicking just the whole wrestling team.
It's cool. And they get Aang back, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember that happening, but I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're like trying to like Sokka and Katara spend most of their time like trying to open up like Aang's
sort of just like hitting Aang's like lying on the ground in this cage, just like face up towards the ceiling, and then like Sokka's just like banging on the
like
door with like a rock. And Aang's like, bang harder. Hit it harder.
I
so funny. Just monkeys. My last brain cells.
I recognize one of the bangs as like the exact sound effect that you use in Team Fortress 2 as the engineer repairing a sentry when you hit it with a wrench.
That's quite a pull.
Yeah.
In my memory, it sounds like what happens when you use like an anvil in Minecraft.
Yeah. I do have over 100 hours as engineer in Team Fortress 2.
Wow.
Imagine playing a video game more than 100 hours.
So much. So,
this says my wife.
My wife.
Just sarcastically
There's a new Borat
saying,
movie.
There's a new Borat movie.
My wife.
And now welcome to
Mabimbe.
Borat cast.
Where we talk about Borat.
Talking about
and we
Borat.
say my wife. Ugh. So they do manage to get. Wait, are Katara and Sokka the ones who end up getting angry while Toph is just like distracting them?
I'll look through the transcript real quick.
I'm taking a look too. Oh yeah, while she's fighting though, her teacher says that he believes that she's the greatest earthbender he's ever seen.
Yeah.
Which is just like, yes, just chills.
Mm-hmm. So Sokka and Katara free Aang in the middle of the fight, but like Aang's about to help, but like Sokka's just like shakes his head and just like, no. We're just here to watch. This is cool.
This is what I came here for.
This is the best wrestling match I've ever seen. I don't want you to ruin this for me.
I don't remember, and I can't figure out how they get Aang free, but they do get Aang free somehow. I guess it's not that important.
Mm-hmm.
And they leave all of these pro earthbenders just kind of defeated back of the arena. And then I think we just sort of cut to the scene of Toph talking to her parents, explaining like, yeah, now you know who I am and like, you know what I'm capable of. And I hope it doesn't upset you. And then like we have this.
And they're like,
it's like queer baiting, but for like good parents.
Yeah.
For a second, you're like, oh, they're gonna make it like actual good parents for once.
Yeah, and they say like, of course we love you.
Of course we still love you.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, have you just proven that we've given you way too much freedom, and we haven't been keeping close enough eye on you, so you're grounded indefinitely. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, we're just gonna put guards around your door because
it's genuinely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And they like kick out the gang, like, fuck off. You've been a terrible influence on our daughter. And they're like just kind of bummed and getting like all set up on Appa.
I like how they watch like they literally like watch this whole thing firsthand, like close eyes. And then they're like, got it. She needs more protection.
Yeah. I mean, parents be like.
It's true. And they're rich.
Yeah. So I'm not terribly surprised.
It's like rich people watching Parasite.
It's just like frustrating getting like so excited about like maybe getting some good parenting and then of course not. Yeah, but so the gang is like getting all set up on Appa to fly off into the sun has already set at this point. Then Toph shows up.
Yeah. And she's like, my dad changed his mind. He said I was free to travel the world.
Yeah, that's what she said. She's got that like slight smile emoji face on. My dad said, actually, I'm free to travel the world. And everyone just like kind of, it seems clear that everyone seems to be secretly on the same page that she's just running away.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, I believe you.
Yeah, they all look like they like kind of like, yeah, okay. If you say so. We're not going to question it.
Good.
She also like asks like Aang to like come down for a second, and he's like okay, and he just jumps down, and Toph immediately just like shoots him up into the tree.
As soon as he like floats down and like touches his foot to the ground, he just launches him.
That was like such a good choice though, because it like sort of reestablished like even though she's like getting to like go travel the world now, she's still going to maintain this sort of attitude.
Yeah,
you know, it's like I just really like that. God, Toph has such a good personality. Yeah. And she also like takes the championship belt back from Sokka.
Yeah.
But she just asks Sokka for it, and he just forgets that she's blind and like tries to toss it to her, and it just like hits her in the head. Yeah. So then I think the episode ends with Toph's parents basically just offering a reward to the what would you call them? Just like the professional rock benders.
Yeah. Yeah,
the little wrestling crew.
Yeah, just two. It's Yu and Shin-Fu.
Jin-Fu, I believe, is the host. And then Master Yu is that's the person who taught Toph earthbending, I think, which is an interesting combination of people to employ.
I think he's also the academy teacher too.
Oh, I think you're right.
He has such like a sort of boring character design
I'm
that
scrolling up really quick just to see if maybe they mention that.
because it is called Master Yu's.
Oh, yeah, it is. That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. So he's like a CEO, so we don't like him either.
Yeah.
Because for a second, I almost trusted him because of like how impressed he was with Toph. I thought maybe he'd be on her side, but apparently not. But yeah, Toph's father, I guess, puts this reward out for them to go bring Toph back.
Mm-hmm. And that's the episode.
Claiming that she was kidnapped by the Avatar, which is just a stupid thing to say. But yeah, that's the episode.
But I believe that Toph's parents actually believe that. It's like, she can't run away. She's not capable of doing that.
God. I mean, but they know what she's capable of now.
They should.
They just think it's too dangerous.
They could also just be like, we'll tell anyone anything to get anything.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's episode. The gang flies off now with an extra member who will be with us for the rest of time. One of the other things I wanted to talk about, something that I like don't really think about much, but like after watching everything we've seen and like discussing it in detail and then getting to this episode, something that seemed to stand out to me a lot more was just how like it's just really refreshing to have a character who is not only Aang's age but like can also match his energy in a way that none of the other characters in the show have really been able to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It always seems like Aang is on this like other level, and
that's true. And like Sokka and Katara are just like
following bumbling around. I mean, Katara is obviously very, very talented, and Sokka goes through a lot of character development, growth in his talents of his own and everything.
Yeah.
But there's just some like unique kind of like aggressive, excitable energy that Toph and Aang both have.
Like you have two people with natural talents that aren't very refined.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, like Toph feels very refined, but it's like her own.
I think Toph just has like her personality has to be more refined.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like her personality is largely like a rebellious sort of act against how she was raised.
Yeah.
Which fucking mood. Yeah, I feel like her personality is the kind of thing that she put on specifically to fight the personality that was forced on her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it eventually just became who she was. And I just love Toph. We all love Toph.
So good.
One of the best characters I can think of ever written.
Just all characters.
Yeah. Damn, what do we do next? I'm just literally stalling because I'm trying to remember what the fuck happens next in the podcast. What did you think of the episode?
I really liked it.
I feel like it goes without saying.
I think the direction was really good.
Yeah, the pacing felt really solid. Like I never got really bored. The bag thing was weird.
The bag thing was weird. The
pointless, especially opening with that.
It had sort of a gender stereotype theme.
Oh yeah, which is like really ironic because
like
they almost like gave Sokka a hard time for being like quote unquote too feminine in a lot of the things that he did, or just like him being like really insecure about his masculinity or something, or like people bringing that up, and then to have like this absolutely like what's the word, like revolutionary characterization of a girl like never been done before. Yeah. It just seems ridiculously ironic for them to like put both of these things at the same time.
It had a
it makes it so hard to trust their direction with Toph, but it does end up working out.
Yeah, it had a weird like
weird cheap jokes, I think.
It was a weird imbalance of like it's cool when this girl is like being all like manly, just a dirty rowdy girl. It's cool when a girl's like manly, but like when a boy is like more feminine, then it's taboo, because then we can like make fun of them. And
it just kind of goes back to like people thinking of women as like weaker and more embarrassing just in general, which I just hate.
And like you have the thing where like
now that I think about
Katara where she's like oh, I'll use my my feminine wiles, but then she like subverts it to like violence.
It makes me kind of wonder, like, are there any characters who gender bend toward feminine in Avatar at all and are not? See, there are some that get made fun of, like the one guy and the troop with like the the secret tunnel episode, the
Mhm.
guy with like the flower hat. It seems like they just like used him for like humor.
Well, I would say like the entirety of Aang is sort of like that because he is slightly more
That's a
feminine.
good, yeah, that's a good point.
In the very last episode, like he did like a whole fight scene with like makeup and a dress on, and it
that
wasn't
is a good point.
and
They
it
didn't
wasn't
like
played
poke
off as a
fun at-
joke or
yeah,
anything.
That's a great point.
And he
Yeah.
was just taken seriously.
Yeah, I just feel like that should be done a little bit more often. It feels like they're afraid of it. Like just like straight
It's-
men making
yeah.
a show. It's like, well, we can't show any kind of
Yeah.
feminine preferences to femininity. That's just gay.
Yeah, and in this aspect,
God.
the writing is more inconsistent of what it believes.
I just feel like they could have just left out that stuff about like Sokka not being masculine enough, and it like what
Yeah.
was the point of it? Like it just took up valuable 20-minute time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's probably on the same page
Yeah.
about this, so it's probably not worth
hmm
going on about. But yeah,
Yeah, the direction was good. It was directed by Ethan Spalding, whose only other episode so far was the Return to Omashu
which
episode.
was also good. Was that the one where they did like the little shoots and stuff?
Yeah, but
Or
there
was
was,
it- or was
there
it
was
the-
another shoot one in Omashu, but this was the second Omashu
The one with Azula
where they like saved
surfing
King Boomy,
and stuff.
and
Okay,
then they're like Azula and the crew.
yeah, that one was a really good
And then
episode.
There was like the
with like the girl,
baby-
the girls, the Azula's,
Yeah,
Ozai's angels.
Ozai's Angels.
That was we liked that episode. The
Yeah.
directing was really good
and
on
like
that
they're
one.
like fighting on the scaffolding.
Good shit.
Yeah, so the action was really good. It really emphasized how, with the loudest possible subtext, that this 12-year-old is just like an indestructible tank. Just kind of like in I almost said specific rim, and like
Pacific Rim.
in Pacific Rim, how like they like try to like draw out all these huge action punches from these huge robots, and they just like, what if Toph was a big robot the size of a small robot?
Yeah. There's so many good Toph moments to come too. So I'm just like, I feel like when I saw this episode when I was a kid, I was like, well, nothing is ever going to beat this. And then it
Yeah.
just like, it just gets
Yeah.
better and better.
Mhm.
Just like,
Just so good.
just keeps going. Yeah. So we have a lot to look forward to now. It's just like the show really, really starts picking up. And we're like, what? We're like probably halfway done at this point. Or at
Almost
least
we're
more,
like
more than halfway done.
we're almost to the halfway point of the whole show.
Fuck it. Let's do 20 questions again.
Okay, sure, I'll do it. You have
Why
something?
not? People like it.
I have something.
Oh, okay.
My thing is Toph.
Is it alive?
Yeah.
Is it one of the main characters?
Yes.
Is it Toph?
Yes, you got it.
Oh,
Because she's so good.
you were just so excited. You had to get Toph in
Mhm.
there. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna think of something better.
Oh.
My thing is the belt you win at the Rock Arena, at the Rock Gym. Yes, I have a thing.
Is it alive?
No.
Could I put this on Etsy and get a sale from it?
Oh, for sure.
Could I just take a nice little chomp out of this?
Absolutely not.
Be tasty?
No.
If I licked it, would it taste good?
I'm gonna go ahead and say 100% probably not.
Could I make this the prize if you can beat Toph?
Yes.
Is it the prize if you can beat Toph? Is it the sack of gold?
No.
Okay. Could I, if I covered this in oil and then dropped a lit match on it, would I destroy it?
Maybe some of it.
Be some of it. Okay. Is it made of all organic vegan materials, plant-based?
I would guess that it is not.
Okay. You know that knife guy on YouTube, like how he can make
Kiwami?
kiwami. Do you think there could be like a video of this, like he turns this thing into a knife?
That would fucking rule.
Yeah, this is a nothing question because he can literally turn anything into a knife.
Yeah.
But
So, like, before you even finish your question, yes.
what if I started a new YouTube channel where I turned
You
every
mean YouTube?
YouTube channel where I turned everything
I don't think that's how.
where I turn everything into shoes. Could I make this into a nice little pair of shoes? Sandals at the very least.
You for sure could, actually.
Okay. Can I wear this item?
Yes.
Would it be a really good item to have in like an MMO? Like it didn't.
Oh,
it
yes, yes,
Didn't
yes.
have any.
I know
it
what
was
you
just
mean.
cosmetic.
Oh, just cosmetic.
Just
Yeah, you could still
cosmetic.
get away with that. Yeah, for sure.
But if it had uses, would it be good?
100%. Yeah.
Could I use it as a weapon?
Yes.
Would it be easy to turn it into a weapon, or do you think it would take a lot of work?
Nah, you could use it as a weapon as is.
As is.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm surprised they didn't do that in this episode, actually.
If you went to a birthday party and the cake was modeled to look exactly like this thing, would you think it would be like good? Do you think it would be adjective if this were at a birthday party?
Just at the birthday party?
Just like this was the cake. The cake was made to look like this thing. Would it? And you were like at an Avatar themed birthday. Let's say it's an Avatar themed birthday party, and the cake looks like this item specifically.
It would be like a very sort of like a specific Avatar theme. I don't think it would make sense at just like a normal themed Avatar birthday party, but maybe at like if you picked a specific theme from Avatar to use for the birthday party, I think it would make perfect sense.
Like a Blind Bandit themed, like
that,
themed
or
after
like,
this specific episode.
There's a couple of different themes from Avatar that like you could use, but yeah.
Is it the bag?
No.
Is it the belt?
Yes.
Got it. Wait, so it is the thing that you win.
Yeah, but you said
but it wasn't the money.
Yeah.
It's not the thing it is the thing that you beat
Toph.
Toph.
Got it when he beat Toph. So
he got
yeah.
that and the money.
Exactly,
okay.
Yeah. So
it was included. Okay.
I was pogging when you said that.
Now I'm going to go to some questions from web.archive.org, where you put in forums.avatar.spirit.net because forums.avatar.spirit.net because got closed down because the internet, turns out, doesn't last forever.
Tragic. What are the questions, though? I'm excited.
Yoshi, spelled like Yoshi but an E at the end,
Ooh,
like Yoshi.
Cute.
Hot man roll. Here's the thing I don't get. During the swamp episode, everyone saw a vision of someone they have lost, such as Katara and her mother and Sokka and Yue. So since Aang saw Toph, does that mean that Aang will lose Toph? I sure hope not.
I don't think that was the lesson from the swamp.
They explained it in the swamp episode.
I
don't know how to tell you,
Yoshi.
Go
back and rewatch the episode and you'll find your answer.
It wasn't people that they lost. It was just people who they're important. That you have like a deep connection to, but are not in your life.
We're hypocrites right now.
What?
Because I think we did talk about this in the podcast, and we both also sort of asked this question. Just like the fact that they were like Tara and Sokka both had like these upsetting visions of like loss and like heartbreak, like tragedy, because that was like the swamp also messing with them. And we were both like, so they did that, but then like with Toph, it was just kind of a normal one, other than the mystery.
Yeah.
But I guess it was like almost like a reverse loss where he didn't have her yet.
I think it would have been like a 50-50 chance in the swamp if you see someone from your future or your past. But the fact that there's only 3 main characters at the time, I feel like if Toph was in the swamp with them, she would have also seen like a future person. Aang might have not been like a one-off, just kind of like you get future to get past.
Yeah.
That's how the swamp works. Get with it, Yoshi. Watch the show.
Listen to my pod cabbages. Jesus.
Liesel? Lieselle. Liesel.
Lysol.
Lysol Hotman says kind of a paragraph of stuff, and then near the end says, and I still don't know why everyone thinks Toph's going to die soon. I mean, she just got here, and already people are planning her deathbed.
Oh my God.
What's up with that?
I think people pre Game of Thrones were just bloodthirsty.
Mm-hmm.
It's kill people, please. Give us the
Like,
drama.
You can't just introduce a new character without
Killing them.
They just gotta go somehow.
Oh, so people are probably thinking she's expendable because she showed up so late.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I don't remember thinking that, but...
Well, we'll find out if Toph dies or not.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Blood Drinker.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was calling you. This person's name is...
You're not wrong.
Blood Drinker says, I think maybe her eyes could be healed by Katara's waterbending or perhaps a super earth spirit. If there were super water spirits in the last season,
how could
maybe there are super earth spirits in this season?
How could you watch this episode and think, conclude, oh, Toph needs to be healed. Toph
Obviously,
Toph is at a disadvantage and needs help. That's what you got from this?
Yeah, no one's saying that, no one's saying the gang can't see through walls. They obviously need help so they can so they can use their earth vibration vision.
Stupid. I mean, if I guess that's a thought you might have watching this a first time is oh, maybe they'll heal her eyes. But the whole point of this was to show that she is just as powerful and strong.
Yeah.
Despite her disability.
They make it clear that...
in fact, she's more powerful and strong than anyone that they've met. They
make it clear that she likes it this way.
Yeah. Bad question.
Yeah, bad question. Lots of good bad questions. X-Legend 34 says, exactly, but I kind of, not to be mean, hope she doesn't. Being blind is what makes her tough. But has anyone thought that maybe a waterbending healer could give her sight back?
Wait, what?
like a waterbending healer.
Wait, this person is saying, I don't think she needs her sight. But maybe a waterbender could heal her eyes to give her sight back.
There's a possibility that
I don't understand the logic of this question.
Because waterbenders can heal. So there's
I thought that's what the last question was.
Yeah. Hang on.
I thought that was the whole point.
The last question was just could super earth spirits heal her? And then the other question was, could a waterbender heal her?
I definitely just interpreted that last question as Katara healing her eyes.
Okay. Now, here's where it gets very interesting in the forums.
Okay.
Which causes... This is where
the fandom diverges.
This causes several people in the forum are typing sort of thing. Because I will tell you...
Okay.
To preface this,
yes,
this was posted July 12th, 2006.
Okay.
And for watchers of the show, you might remember the episode of The Puppet Master, where Katara meets with an old, mysterious woman.
Spoilers.
And someone says, this is in the middle of a conversation already.
Okay,
and they're like, yeah, it was just a theory. We know waterbenders can manipulate the blood of a person, which suggests that they could heal the heart of a person. Who has a heart condition, but that's off topic. And everyone's like, how do you know they can bend the water with your blood? I've never seen evidence.
So this is just a time traveler.
They were just yeah, obviously they can. If you're a waterbender, you can bend people's blood.
So there's a bunch of discourse about whether or not they'd actually be able to do this?
And a bunch of people are just what are you talking about? You can't bend blood. And someone else says, yeah, they can bend the water in the plants. So using ABC logic, they'd be able to do it in animals. And they're literally called Someone 198.
Okay.
It's part of the blood, plasma, is a liquid, but it does contain H2O. Katara can bend for perfume, but not mud.
Okay.
But maybe so not all liquids, water-like substances. And then they say, remember, even earthbenders can only bend pure soil, rock, and minerals. Nothing that's been altered by man. For example, metal. Can't bend us. Can't bend it. So that's all my questions from this forum.
Delicious. I'm sure none of that's going to come back up ever again.
Yeah, it's just some fun fan theories. There's also discourse in the forum about how Toph seeing is earth bending, technically.
Yeah.
Like, how is she bending the earth in it? It sort of undercuts how, like, bending implies that you feel with the materials that you bend with almost.
I mean, I think it makes sense because I believe, like, I think the, like, benders have, like, this sort of spiritual connection with the element that they can bend.
Yeah.
So it just, like, makes sense that she'd be able to, like, connect with it in a way that was, like, communicative instead of just moving it.
Yeah. And it got me thinking could a blind airbender see with the small vibrations of the air? And then I immediately realize that that's literally just like what hearing is. And also what echolocation is, which is a normal thing that a lot of real blind people actually do.
Yeah.
That's hearing.
Those are all the...
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. So I'm just going to speed run some Azula voices since I'm so far behind on them. You ready?
Ready.
The first one is a tweet. It's that picture of Beyonce standing in front of Jay-Z, and it says, "Excuse me, he asked for no pickles."
That's good.
Okay. Next one is it's a TikTok, and I have transcribed it here in order to Azula voice it. Here it goes. "So I'm playing The Sims. I told myself I would never play this game because I should be living my actual life. But now I can't even live it, so I have to live it through somebody else, a computer character. I like it. It's fun."
Good.
And the next submission is a Tumblr post from Really, Really, Really Trying. And it goes like this. "Breaking news. Prince Philip, the dad from the royal family, is a nasty little thotty, and he just died from making it clap on Instagram."
That was so good. 11 out of 10.
Thank you. Next post
Impeccable.
is a Tumblr heritage post. Date of origin 2013. "Okay, dude. I know you want to fuck the granny queen from A Bug's Life. We've gotten our..." Shit, this is... Maybe I should give this one a read-through before I go for it. "Okay, Iroh. I know you want to fuck the granny queen from A Bug's Life. I've gotten your confession 385 fucking times. I get it. You love fucking old wrinkly-ass ants. Stop fucking submitting it to my brain." And the final post is... "The hornfish of a dongfish." Fuck!
A hornfish to a dongfish. As if the original makes more sense.
"The horngus of a dongfish is attached by a scroongle to a kind of dill sack, the newt sack." I need to lie down.
Can't wait to have to put like the Zula music under that. Oh, wow.
Incredible.
It's raining foam.
I can't wait for our listeners to be absolutely baffled by that statement. I have some questions for you.
Some questions, yeah.
I have some questions for you.
Okay, shoot.
Actually, it's just one.
Just one question?
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. I don't mind.
What are your cabbages?
My cabbages is ringer.
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 My cabbages is alarm.
Alarm.
Could be.
Thanks for
Where can people find you, though?
Oh, people can.
Also, there's like so much fun stuff going on. Why don't we share some fun things?
Yeah, I can share some fun things. You can find me at OwlDude on Twitter. I haven't been up to much recently, except I did music and sound for a game called Toucan's Revenge. It's for a
game jam. 72-hour event.
Yeah, it's for a Ludum Dare. So if you just search Ludum Dare, Toucan's Revenge, should be right at the top result, I think.
If you're so inclined to play it.
If you're so inclined to play. I also did the theme intro for LMNOP.
Noise Space Podcast.
Noise Space Podcast, LMNOP.
By Val and Alec.
By Val and Alec.
About Elementary.
About the show, Elementary.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it maybe on our last episode. It was one of the newer Noise Space pods. But they already have like 18 episodes out now.
They did 18 episodes and
it's good
between
shit.
ours and the last episode, I think. Also, check out the brand new Noise Space podcast called Special Grade Snacks. It's Sarah and Kay talking about the anime Jujutsu Kaisen. And I made a mashup for their theme as well. And people are saying that it slaps. And just check out noisespace.xyz for many other podcasts, courtesy of Matt GameCube Nintendo. How about you, Summer?
You can find me on Twitter at Stellar Ghosts, where you can probably also find everything else I'm working on, because I talk a lot and I tweet a lot. And the only thing I don't really tweet about as much is maybe my Patreon, which is Summergeist, patreon.com/Summergeist, where you can support all of my various creative endeavors. And some people have told me that they also support that to support this podcast, if you would like to do that. I don't know what else it's been a while. So I think I probably have a little bit of new music out. You can find on Bandcamp, Summer After Death. And I will be very likely doing a new podcast soon.
You will?
If that pans out,
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. Keep an eye out.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a few pieces that need to be put in place, but and then also I did the artwork for the Ludum Dare game. So if you check that out, you can see that too. Mm-hmm. And gosh, what else? There's so much.
Did you mention that you're doing artwork for an unannounced podcast?
I did. Yes, I did. I'm currently working on some podcast art for a podcast I'm very excited for from
new Noise Space podcast.
Yes, from I'm not going to give anything away, but
yeah,
it's like, it's going to be good, and I hope you're all looking forward to it. I also did the podcast artwork for LMNOP as well.
Oh yeah,
and maybe something else. It's been we've been very busy at the Geist household.
we don't know when the last time we podcasted.
It's okay. It's okay.
We don't know the window.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
I also did if you follow me on Instagram, Sailor Sun, I did a week of Halloween costumes.
Oh,
Halloween week, which was it took everything out of me. I'm still recovering from doing cosplays every day. It was just all thrown together from scratch, but that was fun.
Oh
yeah, Noah, you participated in that as well.
I popped in and out a couple times.
And
couple of cosplays.
I'm also working on an actual full-length video game with one of our friends.
Oh yeah.
And there are just links to these things kind of all over the place. So just sort of dig around, you'll find some fun stuff that we're working on. But
follow Summer on Patreon for secrets.
And I have joined the label of Neodetritus, and I do believe we're sort of working on maybe getting a virtual concert together soon. So if we do end up doing that, I'll definitely provide more information on how you can come watch my performance, and whoever else is going to be performing. That'll be really, really fun. I'm excited for that. If that ends up panning out and working out. So there's just a lot of cool stuff kind of going on. Turns out you get a lot of free time during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we'll be podcasting more now too, since we're starting to catch up on stuff.
And don't forget to vote for Joe Biden.
I just want to say that we definitely are recording this on November 12th of 2020. Mm-hmm. And that was a joke.
Yeah.
A joke. Cool. Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining us. Yay.
Fuck it, pep rally. Go, pod cabbage. Go, pod cabbage. When I say pod, you say cabbage. Pod.
Shit.
Pod.
Cabbage.
Pod.
Shit.
Cabbage. Pod.
Cabbage.
I like pod. I like cabbage. Yes, I do. I like cabbage. How about you?
Goodbye, everyone. Forever. I'm never coming back.
Just as Pepperellis.
You'll never be.
That's the appropriate response. Everyone in unison says goodbye forever. I'm never coming back.
Bye.
Bye.
Cabbage.
Is it a girl with hair that looks like this?
Oh, that's Toph Bayfon. Shit.
Is it tough?
Yes.
Thank you, Cuomo.